should I introduce it and then we go straight in?
Let's do it.
Cool. Hi there, welcome to Directors Debrief, episode 20. I was like certain I'd nailed this. I haven't.
Okay.
So yeah, our post about our conversation about Elon Musk aged very well.
It did.
Thankfully.
Well, we think so for now.
For now.
Yeah.
But we have no topic to discuss. Mm-hmm. I had something that's in the back of my mind, but it's got nothing to do with business. It's more like personal.
Okay.
Do you want to be talking about that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
All right. No,
that was just a really aggressive throw.
I know. I thought that would make some fun effects. The thing that I wanted to ask you about is culture. I think you and I had a really interesting conversation one Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. There was a container being delivered. Obviously, Saturday we're closed, so you and me came in the morning and sorted it out. And we were having a chat about culture.
Okay.
And about like how... Oh, what are you going to say? Stop me.
No. Go.
Okay. About how like... I think we've both gone through a bit of a journey where we start to love the culture that we come from and start to become more comfortable talking about it and sort of expressing it. Is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a nice conversation. You're going to have to kind of take me back a little bit because that container delivery was a little while ago.
It was good a couple of months ago.
So, yeah, where were we? What were we doing? How did it come out?
So, what was it? No, we can't talk about why we spoke about it.
Okay.
We can later in a future episode. But for this episode, I think I was saying that I was admiring from you and getting to know your family that you're quite proud of Indian culture and your heritage. Mm-hmm. And I felt like doing some self-reflecting as a younger kid. I think I was slightly more ashamed of my Arab heritage culture. Yeah. And I was starting to embrace it a bit more. It was more at the sight of my dad at a funeral. And he was at the front, he was reading the Quran, and he was doing it. I don't know, my dad seems like he's in his element. He's a very shy person normally, but he just seemed like he was in his element. Yeah. And we were in this mosque, and it was, for the first time, I think I was looking at it properly, and I was appreciating that. I thought it was really quite beautiful. I don't think I'd done that before. I think it was like... I wanted to fit in so bad at like primary school, probably a good chunk of high school as well. I kind of hid away from all of that, but as an adult, I'm looking back at it. And also, like, we'll talk about this a bit later, but social media is changing. Yeah. There's a lot of cool Middle Eastern influences, and so I feel more comfortable being that.
So I think I'll take myself back a little bit, and it kind of rings similar to what you just said. Yeah. When I was younger, I went to a fairly, what they would call a very white school, a school of very little kind of ethnic mixing.
Diversity.
Diversity. I don't know where my head is at the moment.
Ethnic
but
mixing.
That's definitely not the right word. Scrap that. So very little diversity at school. So being one of the few Asian boys, the only person of color probably in my reception year, and then we gradually started to have some people in the years after. It was always something where I felt that I didn't belong. Even early on, very early into primary school, I didn't like the idea that I was of a different culture. Even goes all the way down to race. It's something that is put on you by your surroundings and so on, that you feel, okay, I don't like standing out. I don't like being different to everyone else. I thought I was just friends with everyone. I thought I was the same, and then people may point out differences. All the way down to what you may eat at home, the kind of the events that you attend, everything varies. Who your family worships, or the events cultures you celebrate. So that was really difficult at school, as it is for many people. I was by no means unique, although you do feel unique in that moment. But what I realized as time went on is that when you try and be so much of something else, you're not that. And you start to forget what you are as well. Yeah, so you're nowhere. Yeah. It's not as if you've rejected one culture and one clash and joined another. Yeah. Because unfortunately, you will never be that. Yeah. You may kind kind of join in celebrations and express it and join in without love. Like, for example, Christmas time, Easter time, we used to do a lot at school in terms of going to church and things like that. So I was embracing that. But I was never part of it.
Yeah. You looked the part.
Yeah, exactly. I felt the part, but
Yeah.
I was never truly involved, and that puts you in the middle. And in many different things, even in business, I hate the idea of being stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
With many different things. You never want to be in that position. And yeah, you start to see that your own culture, the stuff that you loved and you were doing when you were younger, you're slowly losing touch with. And that started to come to me probably a bit as I got older, probably from the age of about 9, 10 and onwards. Something I realized is, hold on, the thing that was making me unique and making me who I am, I've been rejecting, and now I'm losing my identity.
It's quite young to have that realization, I think. But just going back to like, was it like primary school you were saying? Back then, do you think a lot of that was external or internal? The not feeling like you felt in, that in particular. Not feeling like you fit in. Was it a mixture of both, or was it more internal, more external?
Okay, so when you say external, do you mean other people made me feel like that?
Yeah.
Or was it internal where I felt that I just never fit in?
Yeah.
I'd say it's certainly external impact that made me feel that way. Like, you're never born to feel like you don't belong. But externally, like I said, people may point out things like, oh wow, you eat curry at home. Oh, you go to a temple, and then start doing funny things. Kids are kids. So
kids are kids.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. Yeah, so it's definitely external in factors, but also at that age, you've not developed your skin to be thick enough to be able to understand why people are saying that and almost deflect it in a way. At that age, anything people say, if they get deep enough and you don't fully understand it, you can take it really personally. And that's certainly something I had when I was younger. And the slightest comment would really get to me. I'm not saying I'm invincible now, but you slowly learn
Let's
why.
find the line right now.
Exactly. No, but you slowly learn the reason why people. So, okay, for example, say you're making a comment to me, not about my race, not about my culture, but you just make a comment like, Ash, your hair looks a bit funny today.
I'd never say that.
Yeah, I know.
Never say
It's
that.
because you know the line. But say someone's that. I think part of me is slowly learning to see the reasons why you may say that.
Okay.
So it's not always the fact you think my hair's funny. Maybe you feel insecure about your own hair.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a comparison.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something else that you think is funny about me, but you're using the hair as an insight. There, it could be a whole multitude of different factors. And as a grown up, I think I'm starting to see that, and it helps me take on criticism or feedback a little bit better.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're so young and you're in reception and things like that, you struggle because you're unable to have that emotional intelligence to understand why someone may be saying something. And I digressed a little bit there, but the idea and the thought is that as you grow, you're able to embrace that.
No, I think you're bang on. I think when you're talking about the external factors, they definitely exist, and there's definitely a reason why somebody might feel that way in particular. It was a big reason as to why I felt that way. I did something, and
it was mainly external factors for you as to why you rejected.
At the beginning, that's what I thought of it as.
Okay.
Over time, I started to realize maybe some of this is coming from an internal place. And I'm just wondering if you've ever felt the same way.
Interesting.
Where if you look at... Like, I was wondering if I was starting to blame that on things where necessarily blame doesn't deserve to be there. Like, let's say I wanted to be friends with this group of people.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't find a way in, or I would essentially, end goal is I'm not in this group of friends with this group of people. In my head, it was all too easy to just go, well, they don't want to be friends with me. I'm different.
Sure.
It doesn't matter why, but because I'm different. And then I'd see maybe months down the line, they're friends with someone who's different in the same way as me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, for fuck's sake,
Yeah.
it was me.
But then you try and look for another reason.
Yeah.
Like, well, his hair was cooler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like hair I can control. But yeah, that was just a funny thought that I had as you were saying that. I was like, there have been a couple scenarios where I think I've made the assumption of like, no, they don't want to be friends with me because I'm different.
Yeah.
And then they make friends with someone who is the same difference.
Yeah.
And I was, have you ever had that?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's completely. Obviously, everyone's been in that position, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
And yeah, what is it? So if I were getting really deep, Martin Luther King's speech is about how I have a dream that I'm kind of paraphrasing here really badly for such a famous speech. But he basically said that people are not judged on the color of their skin or their race, but on the character of their personality.
Yeah.
I think that's I've got that right there.
Yeah. Saying my personality sucked. That's why they didn't want to.
Yeah, it's essentially, but that's essentially it, and it's hard, but at least you can control that over time, right? You can. Okay, your personality, some people say, is fixed, but you can control who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
But you can't control the color of your skin or your background or your culture that you were born with. It's the postcode lottery.
Yeah.
And I think that's with a lot of things where it could be the wealth that you've come into or the way you've grown up and so on, and it's all too easily to blame it. Certainly it can contribute to things, but at the end of the day it's you and who you are and whatever you do.
Cool. So I want to talk about some of the impacts of that, and you said probably like one of the biggest advantages of something like that, of growing up with these thoughts, of growing up in this space and in that headspace, it's made you very aware as to why people make certain comments. Right?
Yeah.
In a weird way, it's made you empathetic. Are you aware of any other ways it's influenced you? Or in terms of the empathy, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
So I think I see it as a good thing to a certain extent because you're able to hold back your reaction. So instantly, as I said, if someone were to make a comment,
yeah,
your initial, especially as a childhood, you instantly have a reaction, right? Someone hits you, you want to react.
Yeah.
Someone says something, you want to react. You say something back that probably sucks the way you said it, but you want to say something back, you want to instantly react. But that empathy, as you do grow it, and like I said, I'm nowhere near what I'd call truly emotionally intelligent, but I have definitely grown. I know that, and I can definitely say that. You start to see beyond that, and you think about your reaction more. The issue is when you overthink your reaction, overthink your empathy, and go too far, and you start to question things even before someone has even made a comment or even reacted.
Yeah.
So, for example, you may just make a certain look, or you may just you may be tired in your own way, but I start to think, oh, is Sam upset with me?
Giving me the death
eye.
eye.
Did I do something? Was it because 2 days ago I'd said something and now he's really upset with me? And yeah, it's a really strong thing. And then that leads to overthinking and anxiety, which can probably go too far. So yeah, it's a difficult one. But how about yourself? Where do you think kind of that line is, and do you think there is a line?
Yeah, man. I think in terms of the overthinking, 100% there with you.
Yeah.
The amount of times where I've gotten good at like suppressing it, but like I do overthink about a response to something. If I say something and somebody's response, I'll think about it a lot. But it's also made me realize how good the other side is. In terms of if somebody says something, actually thinking about why they said that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like career-wise, it unlocks so much. In terms of business as well. Like bad news will hit us. Well, I don't want to say us because that's not way. But like you and me, bad news hits us very differently, I feel. And it barely touches us at this point. Because if we really look down into why somebody's thinking that. No, do you know what? I'm going to backtrack. What are we always joking about when we're talking to like clients we've been working with for a long time, right? We're always saying we want to promote those people. Like our contact within a business. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but we try and get them promoted as high as possible.
Right.
And so if they're upset, we're upset. If they're not happy with the quality of something, we're not happy with the quality of something.
Yeah.
And I think it's being able to tap into that range that is really, really advantageous. It's like, I want to make you look so damn good that you go into a position of power that also elevates us.
Yeah.
And so I think having a deeper understanding of the people we work with, rather than just the brand, I get your brand, I get your business, understanding the people within a business, no matter how big, it comes at a huge advantage.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. And when it comes to what we do with clients and the way we manage it, like not calling out certain agencies or things, but we do know that there are agencies and companies out there that work with these brands that simply see the product, what the company is selling, as all they need to know about. Yeah. And to a certain extent, that's really important. You need to get to know the product and where it goes. Where I think what we've learned is we've obviously covered that area and we've started to understand that, but we've seen through it and we've said, okay, now we need to think about the brand and what the brand stands for and the company stands for and its culture and the way it is. And we need to understand that so we can work together. And beyond that, we also need to know the individual personalities within that company. Yeah. And that's incredible because there is no company out there that employs complete robots that we work with, right? Yeah. Everyone is different, from the marketing department to the sales director to the operations. Everyone is different in their own ways. And the way we have a successful partnership is from us understanding and empathizing there. And to a certain extent, we may not get a certain thing approved by a marketing person because they took too long. They took 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. Having that empathy and understanding, okay, they may have a lot on their workload, and seeing what we can do to help push that along, really important. And that is the truth. And beyond that, it's not just external, it's internal within our organization, which we've already touched on. But understanding that, okay, certainly from leadership roles, you need to understand when you're delegating work and you're giving work, that it's not simply here's the work and go. Yeah. Sometimes it has to be because there's a lot on the plate and we just need to crack on. But sometimes it's understanding how you can get the best out of people. Yeah. What's going to motivate them. The same piece of work handled in two different ways could be the difference between okay work and top quality work and top quality effort from the team member. So that's I think where we go with that. But I see that you're particularly someone who takes this into account, and it's something you've taught me very well. Really? Over time, completely. Because I always assumed, and obviously WPs started from just myself and my mum. So I had to quickly learn how to deal with a multitude of different personalities. Yeah. Because we had myself, my mum, and one team member. So that was 2 other personalities I need to take into account. Yeah. And I slowly had that organic development. Aside from university and schooling, I hadn't really had exposure to different personalities, not in the working world, not doing this many projects together, and different things. So I certainly remember you had some conversations with me, good conversations, positive ones, but just explaining how when we were making X decision, you were taking into account how others would react and see it. Oh, I see. And sorry, it took me a little while to get there, but that's something that I struggled to see. When we were saying we're going to do this for the company, you would say, okay, this is great, but let's think how this person is going to react towards it. And at the start, I rejected it a little bit. I thought, but at the end of the day, we're moving the company in the right direction. Yeah. But the issue is not everyone can see that immediately, and it's about getting everyone on side. And that is true leadership. And because you're getting everyone to buy into a certain decision, and everyone to believe in a certain decision that the company's making.
It's very easy to get blinded by either one. Because I think when I started here as well, is that I leaned a lot too much on the other side of. I might have let certain reactions inhibit certain decisions. And in that regard, I think you've always had a very clear head about what the business needs. I have always been very cautious as to the ripple effect, as I like to call it, of those decisions. But I've definitely been in scenarios, even here maybe, especially here, where we're talking about huge business decisions, tiny business decisions, and I'm overly cautious as to the effects of that decision. And so I think it's all too easy to be blinded by either side.
Yeah, I think it's an organic thing as well. That or maybe organic's not the right word, but let's take your foot on the pedal, on the accelerator pedal.
Yeah.
And when you're making certain decisions in the business, there are times when you need to put your foot on the gas and say, look, guys, we need to crack on, and almost block out the thoughts of those ripple effects.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to soften it and say, okay, we need to impact this. And it's a continuous thing of understanding the right times to think about those effects, those external effects, and when not to. But yeah.
How do you not let empathy blind the big decisions you have to make as managing director? How do you balance those two though? Because you've had to make some very difficult calls. I've had to make some very difficult calls. Some that result in a slight lack of sleep.
Yeah.
But how do you not let empathy cloud your judgment? How do you have the right level so that you're not a robot, but how do you not let it cloud your judgment?
Sure. So I think it's not about switching off empathy when you're making those decisions. It's about extending the empathy.
Yeah.
So in the past, obviously we've had scenarios where something's not quite right with a certain team member, and we've had to address it in the moment and think about it. And there is direct empathy, thinking about how that other person will react and how they will get on. But then there's also indirect empathy of thinking, okay, but if I make this decision right now, if we decide as a company we're going to make this decision, which is a very tough one, and I know directly it's going to negatively impact that person in the short term at least.
Yeah.
But in the longer term, is this the best thing for everyone? Not just myself. I can't think of myself actually.
No.
But for everyone, the other team members and their development, their opportunities, for this team member and their future opportunities. It's about extending that beyond. And it's a difficult thing, and it's a thing that people say, that's rich. But it genuinely is true, because we've been in those positions and seen the positive effects that decision has made to that individual in the longer term, but also to the wider company in terms of development and the direction that we're going in. Because both you and I have said it, when we're making a decision, we've got to protect everyone's job.
Yeah, man.
At the end of the day, we want to be a company that's going to be here for the long term, not just the short stint. Otherwise, everything is on the line. Not just our company, the companies we interact with in their jobs, the people, the future revenues, the growth there. We have to think of all of that. And if that means a difficult decision in the moment for a net positive, it's very much there. How about yourself?
I'm all about the perspective, man.
Okay.
I have to think of it the way you think of it. If you think short term, no decisions will ever get made. I think if you think this is gonna, let's not just talk about people. Like we've made some difficult calls with like clients as well in the past, where I think when especially around the time we doubled down on our niche, we were just like, we can best serve the healthcare industry, and that's what we're going after. We had a few clients that we worked with that didn't necessarily fall into that category, and so I think that landed in some difficult phone calls, because it was revenue streams for both people. It was money in for both people. We were making money because we were serving these clients. The clients were making money off the services that we were providing them. And that's not really a cash cow you want to kill. That's not really a conversation you want to have. So it's not just about the people. The people are probably the biggest priority of what we're talking about, but it is also like the businesses we work with. And in the long term, I'm thinking of one particular client. In the long term, it was the best decision for both of us. It freed up our capacity so we can really double down on the healthcare industry. And this particular client, we kept a close eye on their like Amazon game and their e-commerce game, and they just went from strength to strength. They went to an agency that could best serve their industry, and so it was a win-win. But felt like shit dialing those numbers, and calling them and speaking to them and just going, hey, I know things are going all right, but ultimately we're gonna have to call it quits here.
I think that took some maturity on both of our parts. Of we don't like losing. Right?
Really don't like.
We
losing.
don't like losing.
I hate losing more than I like winning.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But the issue there is we had to understand that wasn't losing.
Yeah.
In that moment, ultimately, we were getting our house in order internally to build towards a win in the future. Whereas traditional, maybe less mature Sam and Ash would have thought, we've lost that, this is going to make us feel like crap. Maybe we'll pick ourselves up, but probably not. And it all goes back to entrepreneurialism, where you have to have that positive mindset and perspective. You have to see the bigger picture. Maybe in a delusional way, but you have to. Otherwise, it'll eat you inside.
Yeah, I think that's where in a weird way, empathy can hold you back, because empathy can restrict your vision to just the short term. In terms of like, if you become too empathetic of like, I don't want to call, I think they're a relatively small business, this client, calling the small business and saying, hey, we're no longer going to be serving you. You know, that takes a hit to them short term, and I'm sure that was scary for a short period of time. Eventually, I hope very exciting for them, because we can see they're doing really well for themselves. But we if we hadn't looked beyond that, if we hadn't looked beyond the initial empathy of like, this is going to suck for a while, kind of like a breakup actually, it's going to suck for a while.
But this is ultimately the best for me and the best for the other party as well involved. Yeah, it is like that. So
I've waited 28 minutes to tell you, but this is where you and I.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it. Yeah.
No, not today, and that is muted right there. Not today, sir.
Not today.
But yeah, in terms of that, like we go through this a lot, but in terms of your journey in maturity, when it comes to business and when it comes to leadership,
still working
of course.
on it.
No, of course, but with no doubt. But I've seen it kind of sitting next to you and understanding and seeing you manage the team and the operations and everything that you do, and seeing how you're changing your tone on handling things. You know, we'll have a debrief off camera in here, and your approach, I'm seeing that evolve, and you're kind of fine tuning it. Is that something you actively work on? Where does this happen? This kind of the thought process that goes behind it. Delay as a company, which an hour of productivity is a lot of time and a lot less that's going out. So
and I'm starting to like, I don't want to be a one string banjo. Is that right? I don't want to be a one string banjo where I keep saying this, but that is ultimately my problem with all these LinkedIn posts about we only measure output. I don't care if you're 5 minutes late every single day. I don't care if you're coming in looking sloppy, or I don't care about all of these things. I think that's quite, I'm going to get some hate for this, but I think that's quite a dangerous mentality, to not care about the little stuff, because that's where you start to see slack in other ways. Like I said, that the 5 minutes at the start of the shift don't matter, but maybe the 5 minutes up until a collection. If that driver has no time to spare and they leave without a day's load worth of stock going out, that is a huge problem. And that's when they go, should have started coming in on time, so that I can instill these patterns into my team as well.
It's incredible. Good stuff. So we about
over.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So any last words?
Nah.
No wisdom.
There's been I feel like I've been virtue signaling quite a lot in this episode, so I'm gonna walk myself back into a nice little humility huddle.
Yeah, it's a really nice conversation.
Yeah, likewise.
And funny how we actually digressed into business when that wasn't even where it started.
No, it's just that conversation that we had when we were unloading the container. I find it to be a really fascinating topic. I think you and I have both gone through like a bit of a journey of just like, I want to fit in here, even if it means not like I want to push myself away, but even if it means I'm pushing away from my own culture, if it means I get to be involved in this, then so be it.
Yeah.
To actually embracing what makes you unique and the things that you love. That was a really interesting conversation that particular Saturday. I really enjoyed chatting about that with you. And it made me feel a lot more at ease as I start to, maybe too late at the age of 26, but start to really appreciate.
I think that's actually very early.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
A lot of people appreciate it a lot later on in life.
Yeah, some people take a lot longer, like when they're 27.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, full of wisdom.
What is this? So Ash gets about 3 months or so. I'm saying it into the camera, but I mean this too. He gets about 3 months of sitting on his high horse of like how old and wisdomous. Is it 4 months?
Yeah,
April, August. Yeah, man. Of like he acts all like high and mighty and wisdomous for these 4 months because he's technically older.
All
than
the
me.
quotes come out.
Yeah. Started quoting Martin Luther King on me.
Not quite properly. I'm gonna get a lot of hate on that.
Yeah. You should have.
Yeah, I should have prepped that.
I said I'm thinking if you're gonna quote anyone.
I'm hoping I got the character of the personality right, and if I didn't, I'm gonna check that now.
Yeah.
Have I got that right?
Yeah.
We'll check it. But anyway, thanks very much, guys. Episode 20. If you enjoyed that, please do like this video. Please subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. Send us an email as well. We've got our emails. Well, you should. You've got Rams. I'll give you Rams later on.
Just publicly give out Rams' contact details.
Yeah. So anyway, let us know what you want to listen to next, how you want this to develop, and see you next time.